Welcome back, everybody, to the Hotspot. Dave Dell'Isola is, of course, the man over at the Guam Department of Labor. He is the director of that agency, and he joins me now on the KUM couch. We have an update on what's been going on with the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Waiver Program. Dave, always good to see you, my friend.
Nice to see you.
And the last time I actually saw you, allow me to compliment you and your colleagues, first of all. Fantastic showing over at the Relay for Life downtown. That was the last time I saw you, like last weekend and everything, but it was so wonderful to see so many.
We had a record t-shirt sales.
Those were nice shirts.
Over 2,000 shirts sold. So I just wanted to thank everybody that bought t-shirts for that. That was one of the hats that I was wearing in that program, and yeah, it was very good. We're still not done yet.
And so many members of our public sector coming out. We're still in the middle of so many different things, and people like yourself juggling multiple projects, but to actually do what is so core to our community is to come out and support people who are unfortunately dealing with cancer. So
everybody's been affected by that, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we have so many balls that we're juggling, but that was one that I was happy to take charge of with the shirts and stuff.
Well, very, very well done, Dave. Well, something that isn't affecting as many people and as cancer in our community, but something that is affecting a lot of people, of course, is the PUA program. $7 million total in waivers have been approved to date, but 1.1 more recently, 1.1 million.
Just in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, this has been a project that I know you've been working on a lot. PUA was kind of like your calling card for those 2 years and everything. I know very, very stressful times for you, but maybe just give us some context about how important it is, these waiver programs.
Well, there's never been a unemployment insurance program here in Guam. So there was a lot of confusion, a lot of uncertainty when people were applying, and a lot of them said, well, I'll just apply, and if I'm qualified, they'll pay me. But that's not how an automated system works. If you answer the questions wrong and you were approved, then you were paid, but then we circled around and found out, oh, you weren't qualified. You got that money, you need to pay it back according to US DOL rules. So that's when the waivers first came out last summer. And when they first came out, I was happy we could start waiving some people, but they came out and said that you had to follow Hawaii waiver rules, which were so restrictive that less than 10% of the waivers were getting approved by those guidelines. And
it's not like, like a waiver is a waiver is a waiver. We've got our own idiosyncrasies
here. You had to follow,
and,
the Fed said, this is what the criteria is for waiving. You had to follow that. No leeway.
But the governor did go to bat for us to try and get this a little bit more customized to the particularities of our community.
Dave, I'm so happy. Can we start waiving? Because our people are hurting. And I said, Governor, we can't because it's so tight. She says, I want to fight it. I said, good. So she wrote letters of support. She lobbied through the National Association of State Workforce Association, NASWA, a huge lobbying arm. And with her efforts in DC, her letters of support, her fighting with NASWA to get the loosening of the waivers, by March, they loosened the waivers for Guam. And that was a huge win. And a huge relief.
I remember how enthusiastic you were to say that.
We went from less than 10 to over 95% waiving abilities. Now, I do want to say, and I've always said this, if there's any misrepresentation or fraud in the overpayments, that there's nothing I can do.
Right.
That is one thing that Fed say. But if it was through confusion, they didn't understand what the program was about, they thought they were qualified and they got the money incorrectly, then they didn't have to pay it back. And some of these waivers were as high as $40-some thousand,
which is substantial. I mean, by any estimation.
And and one of the biggest criteria, and the governor was so happy. She said, Dave, start hitting it and working it hard. And that's why I kept extending the waiver deadline, because I was basing it on the people that were coming in.
Right.
And if I saw a lot of people still coming in, it was all about helping our people and getting them the relief, because most of the people spent the money. They were using it to survive. And I understand that, and the governor understood that. And she said, make sure that we help as many people as we can. So just in the last 2 weeks, I did $1.1 million in waivers. And for a total, like you said, so far since in March when we got that relaxation won by the governor, $7 million have hit. And I'm not even halfway through all the waivers that we've received.
Plus, you also put in a brand new computer system to handle the PUA, and it wasn't just go plug in a machine. It was also taking an existing platform and integrate it and everything. I mean,
nobody wants to hear all how the sausage was made, as they said.
But I remember it was an incredibly technical, mechanical, laborious process that you had to go through.
And even the date, it still is. Our software vendor got hit with a malware attack in June, and it took us 2 months to get it back up and running so that we are processing payments for the waiver approvals.
Well, let me ask you, Dave, let me use this kind of like forum to maybe allay some of the concerns and maybe some of the questions that bubble up the most. What are the most common questions that you either get approached on the street, or when you're at Kmart, or even people call the agency and say, I've got some questions about PUA and everything like that. This is what I'm concerned about. What are those questions?
The biggest question was, I have a waiver. What do I do? And and what I just told them is that just come to our office. We'll help you fill it out. We'll help you write up the waiver. We'll help you we'll handhold you. Or here's the forms. Just answer honestly. And that's why, like I said, I'm able to do over 95% positives. And the only reason, most of the reasons why I don't grant waivers is through fraud, or they were, use nefarious ways of getting that money.
Right.
And that happens. Our fraud rate was less than 2% versus the states, which were 30% plus. So we ran a pretty clean program. But when you gave out $808 million, you're always going to have some monies that were gotten through fraudulent ways.
Right, but I got to say, Dave, the commitment of the human resources as well as the technical resources that you were able to put together and perform at such a high tempo and everything like that, job well done, because that was absolutely amazing to see. And Guam is so much in your debt.
There was a lot of help. The governor pulled the best and brightest people that were during the shutdown and gave it to us.
Yeah,
he gave us like 60 people of cherry picked in other agencies, and they helped us stand this program up, get out the GCC, set up the libraries. So there was a lot of people that helped us with that, and I still have a staff of about 20 people that are still doing appeals and waivers. So those are the two things that are ongoing: appeals and waivers.
Well, the other thing that I know you want to talk about, and I could get you talking about this for the next 3 days, is the job fair. Last time we had you out, we had you and Janella, your spokesperson, talking about that big job fair. Can you give us any rough numbers about how successful that was and the amount of gainful employment that we delivered to our people?
Yes, despite some of the feedback by others, it was a great success. Our employers loved it, and they are asking me when we're going to do it again. But the employer survey is out. We're waiting for those feedback to come in. But the participants, we had about 2,000 people attend. We had over 200 hired. 65% of those numbers were roughly unemployed. 35% were working but looking for better career paths or for better jobs.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Like almost 4 out of every 10 people were looking to either move laterally or scale up.
We had 90 employers there. We had the recruiters there. We had our training providers there, and I had my full AJC staff there to assist them filling out applications, testing. We had interviews. Over 200 were hired
on the spot.
On the spot, and 35% were interviewed.
And we told people about that on this very set. We're like, okay, dress well, bring your A game and everything, because there is a chance you could get interviewed right there, and they could make you an offer.
One hotel hired almost 40 people there right on the spot. When I talked to them, so where are they at? They're over there getting fitted for uniforms that day. So, I couldn't have asked for a better organized, and it gave a chance for the people to shop. It was looking at all the industries. I had a good cross-section of all industries, even the recruiters. They were happy because, it's all about giving the people an idea of what's out there.
Right.
It jump-started the people and getting them jobs and move them forward so that they saw what the career paths, what is needed. Even our training providers, you know, if they said, oh, I like that job, but I'm not ready, go hit our training providers, look at what kind of boot camps, what kind of services are available. So it was services that were all encompassing, and that's what I liked.
Well, 2 for 2, Dave. We got about 90 seconds left, so I want to give you the opportunity to talk about this Region 9 assessment that they did of you. So we're going for the clean sweep because very high ratings from a very high-ranking source.
Yes, we had an OSHA Fed rep come in to do a review of our program. They do it like every 2 years. Mm-hmm. And when I first stepped into this administration, OSHA was in high-risk status. And within a year, I was able to get it cleared. And now, after COVID, the Eric Christensen came here, and he looked at it, and we, you know, for a couple of days, reviewed some current cases, and he was looking at how the write-up were and other things. And he said that, Dave, you're running the best in all the Pacific, the best OSHA compliance office.
And if there was ever a time when you think there was going to be some slippage in, you know, operational performance, it probably would have been during COVID. But the fact that you guys maintained that operational tempo is amazing.
He said we had closeouts that were in a couple days. There's always something that how we can improve, and that was so valuable.
Sure.
That they gave actual cases and said, you know, you could have written this up this way, and which was valuable. But he says the meticulousness, the thoroughness that you know, that Mr. Pangilinan ran and all the crew there was outstanding, and that was, you know, music to our ears, because we do outreach. And again, if you're a business, you know, that's what we do. We come in, we don't fine, we don't do any, all we do is go in and help you make sure that when enforcement does come in from Hawaii, that you are covered and that you are safe and that your operations is OSHA compliant. And that's what we're all about. And kudos to the staff at OSHA for running such a great program, and hats off to them. And we just look forward to more work and more good success in the other divisions.
And we look forward to shining the light on you, because very well deserved, Dave. Thank you so much.
And I do have more announcements to come in the next couple of weeks of more exciting things that
we will be doing. That cushion that you're on right now on the KUAM couch, that's your reserve spot. So whenever you're ready, you know you've always got time.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Island of Guam, for allowing us to do so well.
All right, Dave Dell'Isola, Viva Department of Labor. Please stay tuned. We are back with more after this.